Mortal remains of our brave Jawans who were martyred in Jammu Kashmir's Doda in the anti-terror operations will be reaching their native villages today. 4 of our brave hearts, including our Captain Brijesh Thapa, Naik Rajesh, Sepoy Bijendra and Sepoy Ajay laid down their lives and achieved martyrdom in the line of duty during an encounter with terrorists on Monday evening. The hunt for the terrorists, however, still is underway in the forests of Doda region, where Kashmir Tigers, which is said to be a proxy or a shadow group of the band Jaish-e-Mohammed, has claimed responsibility for the terror attack. A pall of gloom that has descended on the native places of the 4 martyred Jawans as news reached them. They are now waiting for their mortal remains to arrive home and with tears in their eye to give them the farewell that they deserve.
You see, my son was always, he wanted to be in the army. Right from his childhood, he used to, I said he used to wear my army dress and go around and he used to feel good. And even after he had done his engineering, he takes his B.Tech, but still he was bent on going to the army only. I feel proud that my son has done something for our nation and for the security of the nation. But only thing is that we will be missing him for the rest of our life.
गर्व तो होता ही है ना, देश के लिए कुछ किया उसने, है ना, तो देश के लिए तो कुछ किया है, तो गर्व तो होता ही है। ये है कि उसके अलावा फिर उसको हमने अभी वो हमसे दूर गए ना काफ़ी, वो है कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारा उसके साथ हुआ। तो फिर
जो हमारी पीढ़ी है वो सेना से ही आती है, उसके बाद आगे वाली पीढ़ी भी सेना में गई। हम काफ़ी सारे दोस्त थे जो एक साथ तैयारी करते थे, उनमें से जो अजय था वो टाइम पे मतलब आर्मी में ज्वाइनिंग हो गई थी उसकी, और वो देश के लिए अपनी सेवा दे रहा था। लेकिन अब आज के दिन ये खबर मिली तो पूरे गांव को इसका दुख है, और मुझे नहीं लगता है कि किसी का इतना मतलब अच्छा नसीब होगा जो देश के लिए अपनी शहादत दे पाए। हर किसी को ये खुश नसीबी नहीं मिलती जो अजय सिंह को मिली है।
Well, they have lost their sons, but their families are proud that their sons have laid down their lives for their motherland. As far as attaining martyrdom and the Jawans, the brave hearts who lost their life in the line of duty during an encounter with terrorists in Jammu Kashmir's Doda district, many of them, including Sepoy Ajay, had told his family in Rajasthan, Junjunu, that he will be coming back home soon, this month itself. And besides that, Captain Brijesh Thapa, we've heard his family also there, also coming in a line of Army Jawans and personnel who have served in the Indian Army, Naik Rajesh and Sepoy Bijendra, who lost their lives during a joint encounter launched by the Indian Army and also when it comes to the special forces of the Jammu and Kashmir police. Let me go across to Pradeep Datta, because Pradeep, we also saw the Lieutenant Governor paying tributes to the fallen soldiers, but this is coming at a time that we know for sure the families are proud that their brave sons have laid down their life for their motherland. But this is something that we know for sure, that this attack will be avenged very soon.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what actually the commanders on the ground are saying, that his clear-cut instruction has been passed on to the soldiers who are involved in this combing and search operation, that they have to avenge martyrdom of all these 4 brave hearts, including Captain Brijesh Thapa, who lost their lives during that operation day before yesterday. It was on 7:30 p.m. They got information about the presence of terrorists. They launched operation. It was at 9 p.m. Finally, the contact was established, and that was the time when terrorists opened indiscriminate fire, during which 4 brave hearts lost their life. But what really one feels like saluting the family members, that even at this stage they are saying that they are proud that of the supreme sacrifice of their sons who lost their lives in the line of duty. And that actually shows the unwritten commitment, not only of the soldiers there on the ground, but also the family members when they send their sons. Because if you look at Captain Brijesh Thapa, he's a 3rd generation army officer. That means generation after generation, family members are giving their sons so that they can serve motherland India and see tricolor fluttering. And if you see the tricolor fluttering, it is not because of the blowing wind, it is because of the last breath of the soldiers there on the ground. That is what actually our politicians also need to understand. When family members are showing such a kind of a resilience, they are saying that they are proud that their kids have given supreme sacrifice for the country. Why can't politicians think that way? Why they are indulging in mudslinging and wordplay and blaming each other for what really has happened? This is not the time to blame others. This is the time to stay united against the enemy, and that is hell-bent to bleed India 1,000 cut, continuing with that policy for the last several years. Now it's more than 3 decades. This is the time when politicians also need to learn lesson. So far as this operation is concerned, right now the operation is being conducted at 2 places. One is at the Desa, another is the Bata area also, because last night there was a brief exchange of fire between terrorists and the security forces. Since then the operation is being conducted in that area also. They are using modern technology, they are using quadcopters, they are using drones trying to
Well, soon they will be caught up and they will be neutralized, Pradeep Datta. That is one thing for sure that we can talk about when it comes to our forces who are now hunting down these cowardly terrorists. We also have Gajraj with us right now. Gajraj, a quick update as far as the families are concerned, because Sepoy Bijendra and Sepoy Ajay, they hail from the state of Rajasthan and their mortal remains will be coming back home. Gajraj? All right, lost that line with Gajraj, but we'll also connect when it comes to the families there, because sources also saying, as far as what Pradeep was also explaining to us, in those areas in the forest range of Doda, there has been a brief exchange of fire that took place between the terrorists and security forces during midnight, and following which there has been a massive search operation that has been initiated in the area to flush out the terrorists. Now, this has been the development that has been taking place. Yavar, as you can give us a ground update on the anti-terror operations that still continue in Doda.
Exactly, Amrita. This is the second operation that's been launched in the dense forest of Doda. And now, considerably, this is the third operation in the past 1 week. Earlier, it was a Goli Gadi village from where we reported that the suspect was about 2 to 3 militants. And after that, within a span of 4 days, an encounter takes place in another range, and unfortunately the army had to bear the loss of 4 of his brave heart. I've been given the understanding from the sources that in the midnight they got an input that there are some suspicious movement in the Bata Desa, that's the forest range of the Doda, following which a search operation takes place, which involves the JNK police and the army. When they were approaching towards the suspect, they were fired upon by the militants. In fact, a brief exchange of fire took place there, and after that there has been a massive search operation that's being conducted here. So talking briefly about this operation, there has been the twin operations that's been rattling there. So somehow the operations, they are much challenging for the security forces. It's not easy job for the security forces to trace the militants, to flush them out, because the Teary in the hot and humid weather poses a challenge for them. But yes, as of now, the fresh exchange of firing takes place there. But right now, there is a massive search operation that's been rattling there.
All right, keep us updated on the same. Even as the anti-terror operations continue, the bravehearts who gave up their lives when it comes to on the line of duty there, we have Gajraj with us, because 2 of our brave Jawans, Gajraj, hail from the state of Rajasthan.
See, they hail from the state of Rajasthan, and particularly from Junjunu, and it has been the place that we have been speaking about Junjunu being a soldier's land, because across India there have been maximum number of young men that have joined the army from this particular spot, and also more than 600 martyrs have been reported only from this particular spot in Junjunu. And right now I am at this airport from where these martyrs will be taken out. This is a particular gate of the airport, and you can see the military officials are also lined up at this particular spot. As in a short while they are likely to arrive. And on my right, I'll show you the.
Well, that would be the final tribute that will be paid when it comes to the mortal remains, after the tributes that were paid, and including that of the Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor being present there, and of course making the promise that this attack will be avenged. Now the family will be receiving the mortal remains of the brave Jawans. Even as the country salutes the brave hearts and their valor, politics, however, continues unabated, with the opposition now seeking accountability from the government over the recent surge in terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, as many as 48 brave hearts that have been martyred, killed in action in the last 32 months in the region. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, while expressing concern on rising terror attacks, says that our soldiers and their families are bearing the brunt of BJP's wrong policies. On the other hand, there are other Congress party leaders and the India bloc opposition asserting that BJP's promises of ending terror in Jammu and Kashmir have proven to be hollow.
Why such a situation should continue, and who should be held answerable, if not the union government headed by Ms. Modi? What happened to their Kashmir policy? Why the peace and normalcy could not be restored there.
अभी 3 सालों में 48 से ज्यादा हमारे फौजी जवान शहीद हुए और कहीं जख्मी हुए और कहीं 38 से ज्यादा आतंकी वारदातें हुई। तो इसका जो सिक्योरिटी लैप्स है, इसकी जिम्मेवारी तो सरकार को लेनी चाहिए।
Well, Times Now's group editor-in-chief spoke to the Jammu and Kashmir DGP, who said that his remarks were analytical in nature and were not directed at any political party in particular. Let's listen in.
Mr. Swain, it's a challenging time because we've seen a spurt in the number of incidents, terror incidents in the Jammu and Kashmir region, and this time the worry is that the theatre has moved from the valley to the Jammu region. What is behind this current security situation in the state, sir?
Navikaji, at the outset, as the visuals are being shown, my tributes to the martyrs and the brave officer and the soldiers of the valiant Indian Army. I and the entire Jammu Kashmir policemen and policewomen actually join in grieving and conveying our resoluteness that the perpetrators would be made to pay a very heavy price for it. Coming to your question as to what the situation or the assessment is, there are a couple of important issues which I think would require some elucidation. True that in Kashmir we have achieved visible success in eroding and degrading the terror ecosystem. And anyone who visits Kashmir can have a first-hand experience of beyond the statistics, the security situation having improved in terms of the fear factor coming down. Now, the Jammu thing that we are witnessing is essentially a small number of terrorists. They are all foreign of foreign origin from Pakistan, and they have been in two different axes. One, of course, since last about 2.5 years, we have seen in the Rajouri, Poonch and Riyasi, the upper reaches of the three districts, and then this tri-junction area of Kathua, Udhampur and Doda. Now, the numbers are, as I have been saying in several of my interactions, that the numbers are not very large, they're very limited. But yes, true that they are armed and heavily armed, and they're almost like special forces kind of fighters who have been sort of put behind the enemy line to be able to create mayhem to the extent possible. Now, what has happened is that Jammu, between 1995 till about 2006, for almost about 10 to 11 years, saw a very, very intense terrorist phase, in which a large number of even individual killings as well as massacres on community lines took place. Thereafter, the Indian state responded by way of a very coordinated approach in which the security architecture and its various elements cooperated to really see that it was ended. Now, after a lot of, after a sizable gap, today what we see is that these infiltrations have roughly taken place around April of this year. You see, till April, the heights of the Jammu side. Jammu is a very mountainous region in which the total area of Jammu is almost 2.5 times more than Kashmir Valley. Kashmir Valley has a flat land surrounded by mountains, whereas Jammu doesn't have any. I mean, I'm talking about those districts which are affected. The entire Jammu, the entire Doda, Kathua, Ramban, Kistward, Rajouri, Poonch, and large parts of Riyasi are absolutely mountainous. Sub-ranges coming from the Great Western Himalayan ranges, you see. So what happens is in the months of April, May, June, July, these 4, 5, 6 months, the upper reaches open up. The villages are down below. And
I understand that, but the brazenness with which terrorists have been able to attack, in the last 32 months we've seen 50 of our brave security personnel being martyred. Now, this rings alarm bells, especially at a time when we are seeing, after Article 370, after 2019, when we hope to get a success as far as peace is concerned in the Jammu Kashmir region, we're once again seeing a rise in activity.
Mind you, most of these are not terrorist-initiated incidents. You see, in many of these, actually, we are the ones who are seeking them. These are live operations in which we are into the field. Now, so therefore, this is a question of a battle in which, taking advantage of the height and taking advantage of the terrain, you see, the tactics are such that when the surprise is with the enemy because of the height, and so these are not attacks in the sense that ordinarily you would consider in conventional ways. So it is us who we are seeking them. You see, we are in the mountains, we are in the jungles, and because of a certain tactical and terrain advantage, this is what these unfortunate losses are taking place. That does not mean that 25 odd people would be able to really be able to turn the table against or change the scenario of the terrorist separatist environment coming about. So there is a marked difference between the two. Losses, yes. Unfortunate losses, yes. But has the situation changed where the fear factor has come to rule the cities and the villagers? I would say that no. If anyone who visits today Doda or Kathua or Bhadarwa, any of the towns you go, people in large numbers, the village defense committees are coming forward to, take on the terrorists. There's a handful of terrorists who have come from across. Absolutely no connection to land. They are foreign fighters.
But sir, the questions are being raised because there is an anticipation that elections will be held sooner than later. And also, your recent comments have caused a stir because of the infiltration that you have pointed towards into civil society, thanks to, I'm quoting, mainstream or regional politics in the valley. Are there any incidents which can be brought to public scrutiny? Because clearly, if infiltration in civil society is happening through political parties and political leaders, it needs to be called out.
Said in a completely different context to the discussion which you are right now having. I was in an academic institution. We were discussing how important it is to frame strategies, be it for large organizations which is into management or nation states trying to design their security strategies. So when you are making a diagnosis of any designing a strategy, you need to have analyzed as to where actually you would require intervention, where you would really find out as to what exactly needs to be done. If you are treading at the same path and expecting to reach at a different destination, it is certainly not going to happen. So therefore, I do not think that it is aimed at any particular individual or, for that matter, any particular political party. What I was doing was, or what I was intending was, to make a diagnosis, an analysis, a kind of an analysis that would help us reach.
An analysis is made on facts. So isn't it a fact that political individuals, leaders, parties have influenced, whether they're regional parties or mainstream parties, have given the occasion for the infiltration that you talk about? Any analysis will be based on facts.
You see, there are several instances or cases which will require a separate session. This is an entirely different, subject matter altogether. So I would request that, I would put some kind of an analogy. Let's say someone would say that why is it that the Indian police which is, very different from any other police in the world, the statements made before the police is not acceptable as evidence, even though it is relevant. So that would mean that it's an analysis of the Indian police working, which has happened over a period of time. Now, as a police leader who is managing and designing security, I would go into analysis. It is nothing individual about it. It is.
Are you backtracking because of the political outrage that has been expressed by several leaders?
Not at all. Not at all. There is absolutely no backtracking. How did I backtrack? I am merely saying it is an introspection. I am introspecting for myself. Same would be available for the media. Same would be available for the religious endowments. The same would be available for the academia. You see, when you are designing a strategy as important as national security, which is hurting you in the long run, you know that it is hurting. You know that people have lost lives. You know that policemen and security force personnel have lost lives. You want to save that. You want to retrieve. And certainly you want to have a policy which would work. Now, how would you design a policy which would work? Only on evidence. So that is how
would you call for introspection by political leaders as well?
You see, I think we would go to the next question of talking about the Jammu situation.
I'm only asking if you would call for introspection by every section of the society, including politicians.
I would say that we should, as a country and as a nation, across party lines, across, I would say, any spectrum of any institution, we all would be very deeply interested. Is there any doubt that all of us would like Jammu and Kashmir to be peaceful, to be prosperous, and to live in harmony with the rest of the country? Answer is a big yes. If that is so, and if there is no difference of opinion between any section of the society, including political parties who are into electoral politics, naturally, there would be occasions to have discussions and to see that where things can be really tightened and knots and bolts can be changed. So it is in that context. I think we can go to the next question on.
Well, Mr. Swain, I know your duty has tough calls on you, and I know you fight for lives, you fight for the safety of people, especially in Jammu and Kashmir from the front lines. And I don't wish to drag you into politics at all. It is but our wishes to you that that line of duty continues, because India has faith not just in its braves, in its armed forces, but also in its police force, especially the Jammu and Kashmir police force. And your statements need to be seen in the perspective that you meant it in. That's what I would leave this interview on. Thank you very much for joining me on the News Hour, and we do wish you and your boys all the very best for being on the front line, for saving lives, and for protecting all of India. Thank you very much, Mr. Swain.
Thank you, madam. Jai Hind.